Hey there, it's time to unbox Apple's Apple Watch Series 7. So Apple sent me the new Apple Watch Series 7, and I think there may be a couple of other things inside this box that I'll be able to use with the new Series 7. Put that over there. Before we unbox this, the biggest difference between the Apple Watch Series 6, which I'm wearing here, and the Apple Watch Series 7 is the screen. The screen is basically 20% more pixels. It goes almost to the outside, the very outer edge, almost to the metal part of the chassis. Big difference visually, giving a lot more room for fonts and buttons, and I guess it'll make it a lot easier to use, but also a lot easier to sort of quickly glance and see things on it. Other than that, there aren't going to be major changes. There's a couple of updates. There's the ability to sort of do some better sleep tracking. There's faster charging. Battery life's going to be the same. So it looks like we've got the 45 millimeter midnight aluminum case here for the Series 7, and we've got a braided solo loop. And it's going to be very similar to what I'm wearing already. I've got a solo loop here. So let's just open this up. So as you know, you pull that back. No, there we go. Okay, so get that. You can see what the inside of the packaging looks like. It's always pretty. There's the Apple Watch Series 7, and it does come, every package comes with a sport band, which is going to be made of sort of the flexible material there. Okay. So that is your Apple Watch Series 7 inside of a little protective case. This is again the 45 millimeter aluminum midnight black case. And have not turned it on yet, so you really can't see what Apple has done yet, and that's something we're going to find out in short order. So there's the watch. Inside the Apple Watch Series 7 box, of course, there is a charging cable. There isn't a charging adapter, the plug. You can use your own plug, and in fact, it's a USB-C. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing is that the reason you want this new charge stand, wireless charging dock for your Apple Watch Series 7 is that it's going to support the faster charging. So now you can use other charging stands from your old Apple Watches, but they won't charge at the same speed. So this is the one that's going to be faster. So let's open up the band that comes with it. There's a couple of size options built in, so if you have a thicker wrist, you'll have, so you've got the longer and the shorter band option. The other thing to know is that the bands, everything's backwards and forwards compatible. So the new bands work with the old watches, the old bands work with the new watches. So if you've invested in a bunch of cool Apple Watch bands because you like to change your look all the time, you'll still be able to do that. That's it. That's all there is to putting it on. This is an Apple Watch Series 6, and you can see it next to it. It's hard to tell much of a difference here on any part of it, the back or the front. There are the coils inside, the charging coils are updated so it charges faster. So once again, we've just unboxed the Apple Watch Series 7 with a much bigger screen, Retina OLED display, which has been re-engineered, so it's even brighter when it's on always on mode. And yeah, so we're going to review it. Setting up the Apple Watch Series 7 is just as easy with all other Apple Watches. You just put it near your iPhone. It recognizes it and then walks you through the steps. And yes, now you can have more than one Apple Watch connected to your iPhone. You can also set them up for yourself or your family member. It's really a piece of cake. You just follow the steps, go through it. couple of questions about how you wear it, where you like the crown, if you like it on the top or on the bottom, and that's pretty much it. And then you're ready to go. So far, this Apple Watch Series 7 setup sequence is pretty unremarkable, but whoa, look at that screen. Oh my gosh, that is honestly gorgeous. So I have the Apple Watch Series 7 next to the Apple Watch Series 6. So the 7 is on this side, and the 6 is on this side. And you might be able to tell that the screen is already larger, going closer to the edges, but there's another way to tell. What you might notice here is, see, it goes right to the edge there. So it goes close to the edge, but not as close as this. Here's another look. Just again, you can see how far, the fonts look a little bit larger maybe. And they're going right to the edge on the Series 7. The Series 6 is a little bit more of a bezel, a black bezel around it. There are definitely some small yet important design differences between these two watches. For example, on this side, I'll turn that one there, that's the 7, and next to it is the 6, and the audio slot is now, instead of 2 longer slots, it's 1 long one, just 1 long slot here. The shape is slightly different. It's so subtle, but there's a little bit of a difference on the curves. Just a little bit. It's so subtle that you almost might not notice it. Just take a good look at how close to the edge the text is for the watch. I mean, it's just, it basically reaches all the way to the metal. It's really, really kind of something. So the last Apple Watch came in a 44 and a 40 millimeter size. So this one is now 45 and 41 millimeters. So I've got the 45 millimeter, but you can get the smaller 41 millimeter. So it's actually, it's a slightly larger device. So it is actually ever so slightly larger than the last Apple Watch, but nothing that you're going to notice as far as the size or the weight, the feel on your wrist. I've been wearing this for a while, and I've obviously worn the previous Apple Watches, so it feels just as good. On the inside, they've got a new name for the system on a chip, the S7, but it's basically the same speed. It's not a faster processor speed, but they did update things, some of the other sensors within it, including the heart rate monitor, and all of this, everything works as I expected. I think the thing, aside from the gorgeous screen, the thing that's really most surprising to me is the battery life, which is amazing. So I have been wearing the Apple Watch Series 7 while I've been sleeping, and it tracks my sleeping patterns, my heart rate, and my breathing. It does a pretty good job. It's not uncomfortable to wear, and it knows when I've woken up. It knows how long I've been consistently sleeping. It knows that my heart rate goes down to like 51 beats per minute when I'm asleep, and that I have a breathing rate of between 13 and 16 breaths per minute while sleeping. I have exercised with the Apple Watch. I've listened to music. I've taken it in the shower because, it can handle being in up to 50 meters of water. It's fully dust resistant. I've used Siri with it. Hey Siri, what's the weather like in New York?
It's currently cloudy and 72 degrees in New York.
Loud, right? Apple Watch Series 7 starts at $399, but for the GPS cellular model, which this is, you're going to pay more for that. You're also going to pay more for the larger size, so the 41 millimeter is going to be cheaper than the 45 millimeter Apple Watch. the Apple Watch Series 7 remains my favorite smartwatch. Battery life's incredible, screen is awesome, operation is great, it's peppy, it's got 32 gigabytes of storage no matter which model you get, which is great. 7 is ever so slightly bigger and slightly heavier. You're not going to notice that. What you are going to notice is this magnificent, really big display that makes it feel more traditional watch-like than ever. I really like everything about it. I love the performance of the battery life. I love all of the features, how proactive it is when I'm taking a walk and it knows it and calls me out. My maps, which are so much larger on this screen. The ability to type. There's a tiny QWERTY keyboard on this thing now, and I can type stuff out just by moving my hand around. The screen is expansive. It's got more pixels, 20% more pixels than the last Apple Watch, and it does that without fundamentally changing the look and feel of it. I think Apple's done an excellent job of just moving the smartwatch a little bit forward. It's not a completely different thing by any stretch, but it's a good update. Especially first-time users of the Apple Watch are going to be really into it, and the people who have the previous ones are going to be frustrated because their screen isn't as big. So nice job, Apple. I like the Apple Watch Series 7, and I'm going to keep wearing it. Thanks for watching. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Hi there. It's time to unbox Apple's